Hey, what is going on everybody? Desir here, and I have a new style of video. We're going to be discussing Dark Dimension 7. That's right, Dark Dimension 7 is coming out on March 20th, so that is about 9 days away. So it's never too early to start planning for this, so that's why I wanted to do this type of video. So let's start off by discussing the actual missions, or nodes if you will. So missions 1 through 3 is no trait required whatsoever. Just grab the top 5 characters that you want to take, throw them in there, you're free to do so. But that's not how I approach it, but I know some people will do that. Missions 4 and 5 are City, Non-Legendary, and Mythic. We'll discuss the Mythic when we get to that section. 6 and 7 are going to be the Global, Non-Legendary, Mythic. 8 and 9 is Cosmic, Non-Legendary, Mythic. 10 and 11 are Legendary. 12 and 13 are Mythic. So what are the Mythic characters? It's a new trait that they put in where it's basically your Dark Dimension characters and Apocalypse. So there's currently 8 in game, but Mephisto is going to be one of them. So it's technically 7 that you have to play with on there. As far as how I always approach Dark Dimension, I like to have 2 mission traits ready before I throw any gear on them. That may change on this one only because of how Gear 19 works. In the blog, they said that they will have a gradual power increase instead of a bulk power bump of upgrading Gear 18. So if you have, say, 1 or 2 pieces of Gear 19, it's going to be a gradual increase in power as opposed to when you throw the Gear 19 on for the full set, you get that huge bump. So that's kind of nice to where you can partially equip your characters and you're not going to feel too weak when you go against an actual Gear 19 character. So I do enjoy that. As far as how that's going to impact Dark Dimension 7, I think the locked characters that I'm going to be bringing, I may throw gear on them, but I'm still going to wait for that section before I do the full team. Now I do know that most people will start throwing the gear on the characters and equipping them, but I don't usually approach Dark Dimension that way. And it's definitely suited me in the past because for Dark Dimension 6 I did finish rank 910, so I was a top 1000 person to get Super Scroll, and I'm hoping to improve that number when I try to get Mephisto. What I will do is, say the first section is technically City for me, I don't count the no trait section. So I'm going to have my City and Global equipment ready before I equip my City characters. So that way when I finish City, I should have gear close to being done for my Cosmic. So then I can equip my Global characters. And this will also help me out when new characters come out as far as how I can pivot and fit those characters in. It's not going to hamper my progress. So let's start discussing the City section for what characters I am currently looking at. Here are my current characters I'm looking at for the City section. I do like to find a nice balancing act between characters that are good outside of Dark Dimension that have nice value and those that still work in Dark Dimension, so that way I'm not banging my head against the wall. So starting left to right, we have Firestar. She's great in Cosmic Crucible. I don't know if the new warriors are going to be on the downslide. However, she has great synergy with the bleeds for Robbie. She's also cheap and she is a mutant at 2 pieces. Vulture, he's great in Cosmic Crucible and War. He's cheap at 2 pieces. He has a nice turn rewind, so he has really good value. Lizard, he is great in Cosmic Crucible. He can do some value in War. He is a bio character, and the unique that he uses isn't that high value, so that's pretty good there. Robbie is fantastic. We know what he did in Dark Dimension 6. The Secret Defenders are a fantastic team. The only downfall is his miasma, because we're going to need that miasma later on in Dark Dimension. After that, we have Craven. He's fantastic in Cosmic Crucible. He's fantastic in War. The unique he has does have some value though, so we have to be kind of careful of that, and he has skill. So we have a nice balance between bio, mutant, mystic, skill, and tech here to where I have one of each trait. The ones that's on the bubble where I may swap them out if new characters come in is going to be Firestar, even though she's cheap at the 2 pieces. And then Lizard, I'm either debating him or I'm debating Ms. Marvel Harlight to get another Secret Defender character in here because I really do like that team. She's always going to be a nice counter to Apocalypse, and right now the Secret Defenders can be used in Cosmic Crucible. They still get in War, so that's a high value team to me. Next up we have the Global section. This one here I'm fairly confident about who I'm bringing. So starting left to right, we're going to have Iron Patriot. He takes that titanium alloy and he's going to be tech. Namor, he takes that Promethium and he's a mutant. We have Black Knight, who is a fantastic character outside of Dark Dimension. We have Leader. So the 3 Cabal members are Cosmic Crucible, and I love Cosmic Crucible, as you guys know, so that they're kind of a instant go for me. Leader also being gamma radiation is really good because nobody else really uses that who I'm taking. Then we have Nightcrawler. He does take the osmium, which is a very high value piece. So if I was to swap anybody out, I'd want to bring another villain. So maybe I will swap out Nightcrawler for Sabretooth. Sabretooth is a war character with Weapon X. He is very, very cheap at only 1 piece. However, he takes that molecular cloth, which is kind of a higher value piece for me for Dark Dimension. So that's the main reason he's not on the list right now, and I did take him to DD6. He didn't do too much, but with Cabal giving buffs to villains, I could really play into the villain aspect to get more benefit for the 3 Cabal members. So we're going to see how that goes. Another option besides Nightcrawler is going to be Gambit. They're going to take the same unique piece. Gambit doing the pings could also be very helpful to me. It's just me as a fan, I love Nightcrawler, I do love Gambit, so it's kind of a 50-50 wash on there, but I don't have any Mystic characters in here. I was thinking about taking Quicksilver, but he takes 4 Mystic pieces, which isn't terrible, but I want to make sure I have enough Mystic pieces for when I do unlock Mephisto. So that's the main reason I don't have him there. Also, I really want to play into the villain card, so it's either going to be Nightcrawler, it's going to be Sabretooth, or it's going to be Gambit. So we'll kind of see where the pieces fall by the time I actually get into this section. As far as Black Knight goes, I don't know how he's going to do in Dark Dimension 7 because of how strong these characters are going to be, and the fact there's only 2 missions or nodes per section means that they may kind of pump up the damage on them. That way they're going to really drain you. Instead of having the 3 sections per, it's actually going to be 2. So we're going to see how that ends up working. I still want to take Black Knight though, just because of the value he has outside of Dark Dimension and other game modes. Unfortunately, with this Cosmic section, it's going to be kind of tough to find some really good characters that we can use here. One of the main characters that we used in here was Kestrel, and they took her away from us because of that Mythic tag. So we need to fill that void that is going to be in the Cosmic section now. So what are we going to be doing instead? I am looking at Photon. They are really good with the Secret Defenders and A-Force, so that's value in War and Cosmic Crucible right now. They do take that molecular cloth, which is kind of a high value unique for characters even outside of Dark Dimension when we want to start adding them on, say like Spider Weaver. She is cheap at only 2 pieces, so that is a very good option right here. We have Vol, who is basically made for Dark Dimension, but they have a very high unique piece of osmium. They are Mystic, which I only have 1 other Mystic currently going right now. We have Kang, who is very important to Cosmic Crucible. Then we have 2 members of the Infinity Watch of Phyla-Vell and Moondragon. As far as characters that could be on the chopping block, I can easily swap out Photon for Void Knight as an option. He does take the alien spores, and he is more of a kit-based character, so I don't know if I really want to go that route. And he's going to cost one additional gear tier piece of going from 2 to 3. I'm hoping some new characters come out when I actually get to this cosmic section, because I don't know if I really want to invest more in the Infinity Watch. I do love what they're doing right now in Cosmic Crucible, but in, say, 4 to 6 months, when I'm hoping to get to the section, that we will have better options. Especially Moondragon, who's using that Arcane book right now, because Mephisto also uses that piece. Phyla-Vell uses the Astral Energy. That's a pretty high value piece as well, so I'm definitely not sold on this full 5-man team. I'm looking at this 5-man team, but I have 2 locks right now at Vol and Kang. So I know what you're thinking. Why are there only 4 characters that I have on here for my legendary? Well, let's go through it and then I'll kind of give my take on it. The first character we have here is Phoenix. They take 3 of those pieces, Mutant and Astral Energy. Astral Energy is a very high valued unique, but she's great in Dark Dimension and she got a rework, so that's actually going to raise her value up a little bit. Next up we have that Green Goblin Classic. They take that experimental formula. He is a fantastic character in War and Cosmic Crucible. We have Black Cat, who's going to be that skill character. Secret Defenders, very good team right now still. And then we have Nova. He's a good war character and a really good plug and play character that we're finding out right now in Cosmic Crucible. He does take that osmium, which again, very high value piece. All of these characters take the 3 of those G19 pieces. So where's that 5th character? We should have 2 characters left for this patch, which is that Iron Patriot and the Leader. Next patch should be that new legendary character. There's rumors going around where it could be Hitmonkey. He'd be a skill character. Whoever it is though, they're going on that Mercs for Money team, which who knows if they're going to be like a war team or a Cosmic Crucible team. I would personally guess Mercs for Money sounds more of a war team. So either way, whoever this new character is, they're going on this team. Now, is Phoenix actually a lock for this team as well? No, she isn't, and that's only because by the time I get to Legendary, there's probably going to be a second new Legendary character that comes out, and Phoenix would most likely be the one on the cutting block, or maybe it could be Nova if I don't get enough of those osmiums, and then he'd be kind of cut as well. But for now, I'm going to say Green Goblin Classic and Black Cat will be the locks. Nova's a very high value where he will possibly make it. Phoenix is kind of on that bubble, so we'll kind of see what happens. But this is the 4 characters, and the 5th will be for sure whoever that new character is coming, they will be on this team. And we finally arrive at the Mythic section. There are 5 obvious choices that's going to be on here. I don't think anybody's really going to look at Ultimus unless he gets a rework. Ultron, maybe if you have an overwhelming supply of tech gear. But let's kind of look at the 5 that I have listed on here. The first one we have is Dr. Doom. He does take that miasma. He takes 2 Mystic and 2 tech pieces. Next up we have Kestrel. She takes that shield tech, which nobody really uses. That's a really good piece for Dark Dimension right now. She takes 2 skill, 1 tech. There's Apocalypse, which takes that astral energy that we've been talking about. And he does take 5 mutant pieces, but he's a obvious given that you're going to be bringing him. Next up is Super Skrull. He takes that alien spores and he's 5 bio. And then we have Dorm, who is 5 mystic, and he takes the miasma. So that's a lot of miasma. However, I think it's definitely worth doing. If you are very short on the miasma, maybe you can look at Ultron, but he's definitely on a back burner. I'm really hoping that Professor X character is mythic as well, and we can maybe drop Doom for Professor X. That's kind of who I would drop out of these. That way Dorm you have as that revive once mechanic. I think that would bring more value than a Dr. Doom in Dark Dimension 7 if that was the case, but we're not positive. This brings us to 1 bio, 1 mutant, 1.5 mystic, 0.5 skill, and 1 tech. So it's a pretty good balance here for the mythic section, I think. So after looking at all these sections, what does that bring our total up to for origin gear? That is 6 bio, 5 mutant, 3.5 mystic, 4.5 skill, and 5 tech. I am going to factor Mephisto in on this. That's actually a 4.5 mystic. For the mini uniques, that's 22 bio, 16 mutant, 13 mystic, 14 skill, and 14 tech. Mephisto is actually fairly cheap when I looked at him at 3 of the mini uniques. That puts Mystic up to 16. Now, what are the key uniques that we need to purchase to get this completed? As you see in the video I have playing on the bottom left portion, I highly recommend, if you have the gold, you may need to slow down some of your character progressions, but make sure you buy that top left piece in the supply store at the 400k gold. Sometimes you'll see on the top right, there's one up there as well. Those pieces are 400k gold, and those are the G19 pieces that you need. The actual uniques are 800k, so what I'm looking at are purchasing anything that I'm taking into Dark Dimension. So the key uniques for sure are going to be that Miasma at 3 characters, Osmium 3 characters, Astral Energy currently at 3 characters. That Arcane Book is 2. Mephisto takes that as well, so let's round that up to a 3. And then the last one's going to be the Molecular Cloth at 2 pieces. So those are the main ones I'm buying. I'm still buying the other ones as well, but I'm going to make sure I have at least 3 characters worth for those pieces. As for those mini uniques, even though those numbers seem like they're fairly low, it's like, okay, I only need 16 mutant. Though each of those gear pieces take 18 of each of the sides. That actually comes out to 1,368 for one side of the piece. For both sides of that G19 piece that we need to equip, that's 2,736. So it's a lot of pieces. So spending that 400k gold, I feel, is worth it. The chart that I now have on the screen is what came from the blog post. You need to make sure that you are in a top 100 raid alliance, otherwise you're not getting any G19 pieces. And the raid for the Crimson gear, you need to make sure that you're in a very competitive alliance as that as well. So unfortunately, that means that you do need to push your alliance to get to those higher raids, but that's how it was when the G18s come out. So my current alliance, we are hanging at about a top 50 for the raids. So I know we're going to be pushing for those higher difficulties that's coming out. And that's going to help all of us get into the DD7 and get that Mephisto, because he is such a game-changing character. Hopefully the information I gave you is going to be very helpful. It might give you some new ideas and perspectives on what characters you want to look at, and hopefully you really pull something away. I'm going to keep this type of video updated maybe every few weeks or every patch. I may update my choices for each section. Let me know in the comments below, do you like the choices I'm taking? Is there something different? As always, please remember to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful rest of the day.